guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Stef and I make videos about the film, acting, and entertainment industries. And today we're actually discussing the movie Dune. So this is going to be a little bit different than the standard reviews that I've done in the past on my channel. This is just sort of going to be more of an open discussion, and obviously I have a guest here. So you might recognize him from my Steven Spielberg deep dive. This is my husband Jason. So he's joining us today. Obviously we've seen Dune together. The first time we saw it was in IMAX, which was absolutely amazing, and then we also watched it again on HBO on our TV here at home. So we have different perspectives, and I'll let you just explain your experience with Dune really quick.
Yeah, I've been reading the book for the past couple months, and I unfortunately only got about halfway through it before the movie came out, but it coincided with pretty much exactly where part one ends, so it's gonna work out.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, if you're excited to hear our thoughts on the movie and our take on Dune Part 1, then stay tuned. Ready? Let's do this. Today we are discussing Dune Part 1. It's the feature adaptation of Frank Herbert's science fiction novel about the son of a noble family entrusted with the protection of the most valuable asset and most vital element in the galaxy. This is probably a controversial topic, a hot take if you will, but I'm not the biggest Chalamet fan in the world. Yeah, I won't go into it, but basically I thought he did fine. I thought he did a great job. I thought he was probably better than any other actor his age would be able to pull off in this type of movie, so I thought that he did a great job.
But I do agree that I thought that he at the right times would seem young and naive, and then once his power started unlocking more, he would become more wiser and refined when necessary. We also have Oscar Isaac, who did awesome. He was great. Rebecca Ferguson was great, but you have a bone to pick. So like I said, I read the books, and anytime Lady Jessica starts getting a little upset, she kind of just repeats words from the teachings of the Bene Gesserit that help calm and center herself, whereas in the movie, she's just wilding out and tweaking the whole time and can't hold it together ever, which just made her seem more of a weaker character, which isn't how she's portrayed in the books, to me, at least.
Stellan Skarsgård as the Baron. That was great. Thought he was gross.
He's so gross,
He's
but
supposed to be.
in the best way.
Zendaya. But, you know, it's tough with her because what did she have, 7 minutes, I think, of screen time?
She got 7 minutes and a fake tooth.
Yeah. Jason Momoa is great, but also, like, he's
Jason Mamoa.
Oh, and then I guess the last one that I would want to bring up when it comes to the team is Hans Zimmer and his score. And he went hard on this one.
Ooh.
There's a reason that he dropped out of Tenet, or that he didn't want to do Tenet. He was waiting for this one. This is such an epic, grand film. Like, they do such a good job with scale, which is again why you should probably see it in IMAX if you can afford it. It was $20 per person, which is ridiculous.
I thought it was more, like 25.
It was like, yeah, where we went, I think it was 20, but then plus snacks, it ends up just being so crazy. But yeah, if you can swing it, IMAX, of any movie, this is the one you want to see in IMAX, I believe. But anyway, yeah, not to go on about that, the visual effects, I thought those were beautiful and seamless. It looked like you were in a real world.
Absolutely. The sheer size of the IMAX screen really allowed to show off some of the larger elements that I don't necessarily think any other Dune, like any of the other Dunes that have been made in the past, would have necessarily been able to capture properly. Like just seeing the ships and the worms and the desert itself, everything is larger than life and larger than you can even fathom. One of the things I really enjoyed, it wasn't necessarily cinematography wise, but a visual aspect, was the lasers that would come from the ships weren't like lasers you would typically see of just like a bright neon color. It was looked to me almost like when you see light bouncing through a window in an attic. It's just that little shimmer, almost like a magnifying glass. And it was just cool to see the destruction come from something that looked very harmless.
Yeah. For sure, like, favorite line in the movie was the gift of your body's moisture with the Stilgar, that's his name, right?
Stilgar.
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious to me, and also like just helps with the world building and shows like how absolutely important, like more than important, water, you know, is on this planet.
I felt that they were able to convey all the main story points very well, while also snipping away some of the extra, I would call them fun details and lore that builds the world but wasn't necessary to the story itself. Mm-hmm. And another thing that I had been kind of wondering about how they would deal with is Paul's visions, because when he is experiencing the visions in the book, he sees all the past at one time. So to see them follow in quick succession in the movie, I think was a good way to portray that and to show how he's having difficulty deciphering exactly what's going on in his mind.
Obviously, I haven't read any of the books, so I'm not really an authority here. So all I really have for this section is what we've discussed, honestly, which is just that where they split the film is probably the best possible place for it.
Absolutely.
That there's not really anywhere else that would make sense. And then also just, I'm sure you'll go into it more, but about how the Doctor has a much more expansive role in the books than in the film.
Couple characters that aren't necessarily expanded on as much in the movie are the Mentats. For instance, you may not have even heard the word Mentat. They are the characters who have the little blue patch under their lip. They are basically the human supercomputers that work for the rulers of the houses, basically just helping them make all their decisions.
Like an advisor.
Exactly. Except, like, they're to the T.
Right.
Gotta know that stuff. As she was mentioning before, though, Dr. Yue does have a much larger role in the books. You learn a lot more about the struggles he's dealing with, how they're holding his wife captive, and how the lengths he's willing to get her back. And also, while we're speaking of doctors, Dr. Kynes is a white man in the books, where she's portrayed as a black woman in the movies. Two scenes that I thought were ripped straight out of the book, and literally how I envisioned them in my head, were the scene with the pain box and Paul putting his hand in for the test, and then later when we are in the desert, the crawler is not able to be picked up by the carryall. Both of those scenes were shot for shot, I felt.
Our final thoughts on this film, on part one. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I feel like after the theater viewing, you didn't enjoy it as much as I did. I don't know if that changed after the HBO viewing, but yeah, for me, I thought it was great. I went to go see the film with my family, and I know that not everybody that went on that trip knew exactly, I guess, what they were getting into. So
no clue.
Yeah, there was a little confusion there, and we were able to sort of try to clear that up. But yeah, if you don't know what you're getting into, you might not be able to appreciate it to its fullest and understand like the gravity of what you're seeing, I guess.
I would say that after the first viewing, I did come out a little salty, but I think it was just because it's such a extensive amount of details in the book, where you're gonna notice things missing in the movie, but you can't necessarily fault them. So on the second viewing, watching it back, taking into consideration, was it necessary to the story? I think they made the right choices. Anything that I am looking forward to in the future, I am sure it will be provided. The groundwork has been laid, and now it is just time for the sheer story. We get to dive into the Fremen culture and see how their lives truly work out in the desert, and how Paul will adapt to that. So I think that's very cool.
But yeah, my final take is I would 100% recommend this film. We're not going to give it a score, because again, we're not doing a review, we're just talking about it, we're having a discussion. But yeah, it's a really, really good movie. I would recommend it, and try to see it on the biggest screen that you can afford to. Thank you so much for watching today's video and our discussion of the movie Dune Part I. We had a lot of fun talking about it. Thank you to Jason for joining us and gracing us with his presence on the channel.
My pleasure.
We definitely recommend seeing this movie, and hopefully if you can afford it on the biggest screen possible, like absolutely the biggest screen possible is the best way to experience this. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and comment down below what you thought of Dune if you've seen it, and consider subscribing to the channel for more content just like this. I really hope you enjoyed Dune just as much as we did, and I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.